Well, hello, you fabulous interior design professional. Welcome to Business of Design. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to do something really powerful today. We're going to talk about how we can sell things better. I know you don't love selling things, but you have to sell things all the time, right? You have to sell your services to clients. You have to then sell the exceptional, beautiful things you want them to buy. You have to sell concepts. I'm thinking if we add a room at the back of the house, you could imagine how exciting it's going to be to get together with your family at the holidays with that extra space. So we're selling things all the time. How do we do it better? How do we do it more creatively? And that's where our guest comes in today. His name is Kasper Sierslev. And he is not just a marketer, but he's a visionary and he's dedicated to transforming in-house marketing and creative collaboration. And he's got a couple of methods he's going to share with us about how we can tap into that portion of our brain where we can tell a better story. And I am personally going to be trying out both of these methods in the upcoming week. I have a presentation on Wednesday, wish me luck, and I'm going to start with his first method and I'll let him tell you about it. You can find Kasper on Instagram at I'm going to spell it Sierslev. Sierslev. And don't worry if you're driving, all of this information can be found at Business of Design in the show notes. Kasper has a book called Moving In-House, where he teaches business people how to move their marketing in-house. I got really good ideas also for my website from this episode. So I think you're going to like it. I know you're going to like it. And kind of fun to talk to somebody who's in Copenhagen, far from me. I'm here in Toronto. If you can see behind me, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the big condominium right behind me. It's the half of the year where we move back to Toronto. We spend the first half of the year in Santa Monica, the second half of the year in Toronto. And this is it. We've got good weather coming in Canada, and that's wonderful. And I needed to be back because I got a couple presentations. So as I said, wish me luck. Episode 379, Sell It with a Story. And we'll get right into the episode as soon as we hear from one of my favorite people in the whole world, Cheryl Horn.
Thanks, Kimberly. Well, last week was our last BOD Live member meeting, and I was talking about implementation. So if you remember and you missed it or you've just joined since, please check that one out. I dive into what to expect when you get into BOD membership, where I actually recommend you start, and it's not necessarily where you'd think, and just some best practices for implementing the system specifically that you're learning within BOD membership, but it can certainly be applied to any sort of education that you're doing on behalf of your business, whether you're attending a conference or a seminar, another online course. It can sort of be applied across the board, but of course we specifically talk about BOD membership. I touch on why we decided on a membership versus a one-time course, because the support component that we make available to you is so critical to the implementation process. So again, learning the systems really is only 20%, and the rest is applying that to your business, coming up with that, to-do list of action items and doing the work. And we really try and hold you accountable to that and are available to answer questions. It's great if you understand the system, but understanding the system and really honing in on the action items required in order to implement it in your business might be two different things, but I'm certainly here to provide you with that support. So I sort of do a deep dive into that. And again, that's the recording from last week is available on the website. And then coming up, June 26th will be our next BOD Live, and Kimberly will be taking the lead talking about a hybrid model. We've been getting a lot of questions and a lot of members sort of wanting to put together our hourly fee and flat fee methods into single projects. So we're going to walk through that together, answer some of your questions, the pros and cons of doing that, how you can modify your contract if you are putting the two together. So that's on our calendar because it was kind of in high demand. So again, that's coming up on June 26th. And then I know it's kind of far away, but not for us because we are deep into the planning part of this. But please save the date if you are planning to attend High Point Market in October. We have a full day of BOD planned for you on October 26th in partnership with Ann Moore, High Point Market, and Daniel House Club. So we're really excited about that. Details are on the website. Registration for High Point Market itself, I don't think opens until August. Of course, we'll put the direct link there as soon as we see that registration is open. You will need to do that in order to join. But please head to the website, check out our schedule of events for the day, and let us know that you're coming. I get to talk to members every day, every week, and I know names really well. So I want to see who's going to be joining us. I would love to see your name on our list. So please RSVP. That just comes to me to let me know that you're going to be there, and I can watch for you. I would love to say hi and put some faces with the names that I've gotten to know so well. So head to the website. So much going on. Details for everything, of course, are at businessofdesign.com. Thanks so much.
Kasper, I was going to say good morning, but actually, I don't even know what time it is where you are. Tell everybody where you are, what time it is, and who you are.
It's 2:00, so midday in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I chose the best location in the office. You can't see it because it's so bright, but right behind me is actually the Royal Palace where the king lives now. So yeah. We used to have a queen I think she was the longest sitting monarch in the world, but she stepped down in January and he took over.
Very exciting.
I know it's his garden because there's a trampoline down there, and I'm pretty sure it's not the queen jumping around on it. So.
Were people excited to have him take the reins? Was this like a happy transition for everybody?
Yeah, I think people were very excited. She was very popular. She's still very popular.
Wow.
But I mean, and she always said, I'm never going to step down. I'm going to die in this role. And then eventually I think she got problem with her back and she decided to step down. And he's very popular, everyday guy. The queen, the new queen, the crown prince as well is very popular. So it's a very popular royal family.
Isn't that lovely? Okay, and I can tell already, Kasper, you are really cut out for the conversation we're going to have, because we're going to talk about how to tell a story that engages people and entices people and makes them curious. And right off the bat, everybody's imagining this beautiful place that you live in, Copenhagen, just by your description of the royal palace behind you. So why does storytelling matter to an interior designer? Why do we care?
Well, I think storytelling is always interesting, and it actually makes people curious in what you're doing. I teach this at this school, and we sometimes say, even if you don't have a story to tell, make up a story, and people will engage in it because it lights up parts of our brain. When we hear story, we can relate to it. Actually, there's a study that says that it's the same part of the brain that lights up when you're actually throwing a ball and when you're imagining that you're throwing a ball. So it's very close. We can really transform our feelings to other people just by telling stories. So I always tell people to tell a story, even if they don't have a story. They talk about, I'm going to do this presentation, but actually I want to step a few steps back. Yesterday when I was biking home, I was stopping for the red light, and I got to think of it. This is really a great idea. So even if you don't have a story to tell, imagine a story, and people will say, oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I know exactly that feeling or something.
Put yourself in that context to just make it relatable.
Yeah.
I've said before that we're not selling, as interior design professionals, we're not selling kitchens. We're selling Friday night around the island. We're selling Sunday brunch and, good smells coming from the oven. And I think as much as a lot of creative professionals don't want to acknowledge it, we are in the business of sales. So that's why we wanted to talk about storytelling, because we have to sell our services, and then we have to sell products and goods and solutions. And everybody needs to be able to do that confidently, and telling stories can help.
Yeah, I think so. I think last year I was involved in a big Danish industrial client who's selling pumps. and they've got this. It's actually not a new invention. It's an old one, where they can install a pump with a what do you call it, merculator, that can destroy things. And they
Oh,
were talking about, when they want to show this box, but in reality, what it can do is you can place this anywhere, and then you can install a new bathroom or a kitchen in the attic or in the basement or something like that. And they keep talking about how great this pump was, and we say, no, you have to sell the dream of what you can do. People don't buy, they don't buy pumps. They buy the
right.
possibility of building a new great kitchen in the living room and actually expanding their home, or a new bathroom under the stairs or something like that. So I think, and I don't know where I'm going with the story, but I think it sometimes it really takes a lot of storytelling. So to imagine that you are coming home and you can actually cook in the same living room. You don't have to go to the small kitchen. You can imagine that you can sit here in the living room. The kids are playing. The oldest is doing his homework at the desk here, and now you can do it because you don't need weird plumbing going through all the floors or something like that. You could just have this small thing installed, for instance.
Okay, like I'm completely hooked on this story and I want to know what this magic pump is. So maybe we'll have to offline about that because it sounds like it's going to change things in a very positive way. Why is it so hard for people to get out of the way and tell the story? Why do we focus on talking about the merits of, the tile or the marble instead of the story? What do you think that's about?
I think it's because we get so into what we're doing. We keep, we're focused on the PowerPoints and the numbers and the presentation, but there's a lot of study. I mean, there's the old David Kahneman, who did the Thinking Fast and Slow, who says it's actually only 5% of our brain that we use for the analytic things, but in reality, everything 95% is felt. It's something we do intuitively because we've seen so many things, and we feel this. So we often what do you say? We decide, and then we actually rationate on afterwards on how to do things. So
Right.
we fell in love with something, and then afterwards we do the math and say, oh, that's why I like it, and that it's because of the numbers and so on.
We
So
justify it at the back end or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah.
And we want our clients to let us lead them down a path because we have this exceptional thing we want them to purchase. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
truth. We have this exceptional idea, concept, or beautiful light fixture, something that we want to get them to say yes to. And our best path to that is not maybe focusing on how many lumens are in the light, but rather how gorgeous everybody's going to look around the dining room table, when their daughter's, wedding happens or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Um,
so exactly.
no, go ahead. What about how do we use this in marketing ourselves? Because it's a very densely competitive market. Everybody and their brother-in-law is a decorator or designer. And so, if you really need to make a living doing this, how do you use what you're talking about, spinning a yarn or telling a story? How do you use that in your marketing? That's your expertise, right?
Yeah, but it's a really good question. Um, I think it's really about trying to step outside yourself, because I mean there's always a people problem behind a business problem. So and even though you're doing the most boring marketing stuff, for I don't know, doctors or engineers or something like that. They're all people and they all react to the same basic feelings. So if you can start making an emotional connection, try. I mean, I think actually for interior designers, it's a lot about imagining coming home to this, imagining having your friends sitting here in the evening, and you're doing that dish that everybody loves, and you could. So I think a lot of times it's about, say, try to close your eyes. You can even do it I think sometimes it's fun to do it with words, or say, close your eyes and I'll tell you how this room is going to be. I'm not going to do a single drawing or something like that. I'm just going to tell you how the feeling is going to be. And
Right.
then start working from that. I'm not really digging into how to do the advertising, but it's just, instead of showing ground plans or sketches or something like, sometimes you can I think you could talk about the feeling of this new home or this garden, or how you would imagine it.
That's interesting. It's making me sort of rethink how I do presentations, because I start with those drawings, specifically what you're talking about. I wonder if it would be a better idea to first start with the story, tell them what I'm going to show them, tell them I'm going to show them the mechanism behind this story, but the story is the most important thing, like kind of to lead with that. You
I'm not gonna tell you how to do your job, but I think I would try it at one point. Just say, I'm gonna
Yeah,
try something on you. I'm gonna tell you how the feelings gonna be when you come home, and then we're gonna reverse engineer it and say, how are we gonna do that afterwards? But first, I want to tell you the feeling you will have when you open the door, when you put the key in, and try. I think, for me at least, it's a lot about putting in small details, or visual markers as such. So say, imagine parking your car in the driveway, closing the door, walking up to the door, the light is on. And now I think we have this connection that we say, oh, I can imagine that, even though I have no idea how their home is looking. You have your idea and I have mine, but we
right.
start to tell those small stories that actually make us connect. And I think, and then we can say, okay, how is that light gonna look like, or how is that hallway is gonna look like? I think
This
talking
is
about that feeling, I think that would be, yeah.
This is such good timing for me. I have a presentation on Wednesday, and it's actually a very small project. It's a smaller project than we normally do. They've hired 3 designers who've done a little bit each. So the house is kind of a mess, and it's our job to kind of fix it up. And she's the best friend of a great client, which is why we took the job. But I've sort of been struggling with the presentation's not as exciting as we're not doing the whole house, but what you're saying is exactly how I make the presentation exciting for the clients, by tell them how good it's going to finally feel to come home and your house won't be a disjointed, series of rooms, with individual hands in there, but it'll just be this cohesive experience that feels so good. You're also making me think about, like my website, and that so often interior design professionals had these websites with beautiful pictures of rooms, but they're static and they're sort of dead. And I'm just imagining some of my clients. I have this one client, they have 2 sets of twins. How fun would it be to have a photo with a whole family, crazy chaos of a weekend on the website? I think I'm going to consider that. That's wow. Sometimes it's easy to be an automaton and
Yeah,
focus on mechanics.
I think we end up do that a lot, but actually telling what, it's not rooms, it's a house, or it's a home. So it's the feeling inside. It's what it feels like when you yeah, when you cook, or when you sit down on the sofa after a long day or something like that. It's sitting there watching the kids play, or whatever. I mean, but I think telling these stories will connect with people. It's just my opinion, of course. I may be totally wrong.
Now, this is your business. I know it is. And I know you said you had some methods that you like to kind of share with creative people. What kind of methods will help us kind of tap into this part of our brain?
So I have 2 things that I always teach because I can do them very fast. So the first one is called insights, and it's super easy. It's not something I invented. It's just it's just small things that we all know. We never wrote down the notebook. It's just things that we know that we sometimes can build on. It could be something like, people that don't own a car, they always slam the door too hard.
Yeah.
and I'm not sure where this is going. It's just one of those things. It's also, when you come out, if it's late at night, you come out of the bus or the metro, and you're only two people, and you can't walk at the same pace. You need to either slow down or speed up because it's super weird walking, no matter if they are old or young or
Yeah.
whatever. So, and all these things. So now this more generic stuff. But let's say I just worked with one of our clients who sells cars, and we said, let's find insights into people who want to buy an electric car. Do we know anything about them? Mm-hmm. Well, and then we start writing down all these insights about people who own an electric car. They always know the exact distance between cities. I don't know, but they kind of know, and they plan because they need to charge, and
right.
They have these charging excuses. So after dinner, before dessert, they say, "I have to go and charge the car," or something like. I'm not sure. This is it's total generic, but that's kind of finding the insight. So look down at people that you are, first-time buyers of houses or cars. They have certain characteristics that are kind of fun, or I don't know. That's kind of finding those insights, and it's really, it doesn't take a lot of data. It's more like you're just take 10 minutes and think about the first time you bought a house, all the mistakes you made, or all the, we all have this uncle that we need to bring who knows stuff. I don't know, or I don't know. I'm just talking. And if we sit down, and it's best if we're two people at least, because sometimes I'm going to say something and the other ones are going to say, I don't feel that way at all. And then it's not an insight. You have to,
There has to be some agreement, like the getting off the bus and walking.
That's right. So that's the first. It's a really simple trick, but it really helps you get going on developing ideas, for instance.
I would say most homeowners want to pick a paint color first. I think most designers would agree to that, and we usually pick the paint color last. But so that would be an example of an insight, that they always are excited to pick the paint color. So settle down.
And it's something you can put up last minute change. When you actually design the home, for instance. But that could be a fun. Maybe it's something you can develop on, or something like that. That idea.
But even saying that to your new home buyer is a way of letting them know that you know where they're at. You've had experience with other people in their position, and so they're in good hands. They can trust you. I mean, that's kind of what it is, right? When you're marketing, you're trying to get that consumer to trust you and believe you and go with your recommendations.
Yeah, and this is a nice way to say, I know that that we know, or something. So we have this connection together because we have these small hints, and sometimes for some people, you find these subgroups where we agree on this, and sometimes you distance yourself from that, because that's also fine. For instance, you distance yourself from, I don't know, people living in vans or something like that. It's fine. I'm just talking, but so try to find those insights, or those small groups where you can agree more than. I think there's a lot of people in marketing, they talk about target audience or demographics and something, and I think it's probably fine if you do a Facebook ad or something like that, but I think it's really boring. I mean, a man mid-40s living in a city, he can be anything. It's just numbers. It doesn't really say a lot about what he thinks and feels, or something like that. So I think I would more go for these small insights, these hints of connectiveness, or things we agree on or disagree on, because that's also fun.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. Like, rather than making him this generic, model, give some flesh to him. Like, who is he? He's a guy who always has his haircut. His hair's never out of place, and he's very fastidious, and all of his charging things are lined up in a perfect row. He's that guy. Yeah, he's got matching socks to every pair of pants. That guy.
Exactly. And I think sometimes it's just fun to say, if we're building a house, if we're doing a home for him, then this would be our solution if we do this. So then you say, okay, we're doing, it's, instead of just writing, we're designing for you or something. That's, then it's more fun to say, and then of course the advertising way would be to go out in the extreme and find someone who, I don't know, has a billion guitars or midgets or whatever they call. What do you call it?
What are they?
I don't know, some toys or something, plastic toys or something. That would always be the advertising way of extrematize it. But finding those. So that's the first trick or method. Actually.
So looking for those insights. So that's one method to help you tap into your creativity. Okay, what's the other one?
The next one is something that you can actually use it for almost anything, for naming or for logos or for ads, but it's actually a way to train your creative brain. So it's called the cross method. And basically it's very simple. When let's say it's a bad example for you, but I'm just going to say, like, you want to sell fast internet. Then you have 2 lines of words, and the first one you do all the associations with fast. So that could be a lightning, it could be Superman, it could be chins going like this, like a parachute jumper or something like that, or it could be the sound or an eagle. I don't know, all the things. You do this for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and you just keep going. All the things you can come up for fast.
Okay.
And then you switch and you do the same with internet. So that could be the Wi-Fi symbol or a computer or something like that. And the trick is, then you have, I don't know, 20 words, associations or anything. And then you just start crossing them. And that way you forces your brain to do things you haven't thought of before. And it's a really, really good way to come up with visual, interesting ideas very fast, or logos or names for something. Let's say you combine 2 things and you just keep going. It could be sayings.
Okay, so both of these ideas I'm going to use. Both of them I'm going to put to work immediately, but with the second one I'm going to put to work, we're writing some new books for Business of Design. I'm struggling with the title and some of the, how is it going to look and feel? And so I think the second exercise is the way to go. I love on the podcast, I learned so much, and I will come back in a few weeks and I will tell everybody I tried Kasper's method and it worked, and here's how it worked, and you should definitely try it. So thank you. I love that the conversation is practical. That's super helpful. We love to end every episode with just design intervention. It's just a great piece of business advice you want to leave everybody with.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you want everybody fills in an application, and I know you did. Let me see what you did. No, you left it blank. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot then. That's crazy. Okay, so in your business experience, in your I guess how else to say it, somebody at some point gave you a good piece of advice and you kind of live by it.
I would say, because I think, like everybody in the creative business, I struggled with imposter syndrome. I mean, everybody does that.
Yes.
And I think I had a mentor once who said, it's really difficult to get 100 bad ideas in a row. So you really have to struggle to do that. So if you keep going, if you keep doing ideas of any kind, so keep going, don't judge, just, lay it out all there and just do ideas. That would be, it's kind of a two thing. So that would be the first one. Just keep going.
Just keep going, and you'll know when you hit it. It's kind of like that free association.
Yeah. Maybe do a small circle around something that you come back to, but you cannot judge it yet. That's the first one. The next one is to share. And it's super scary the first, 10 years of your career to share your bad ideas. But
Oh,
my lame idea will become slightly better when somebody else say, "Oh yeah, maybe there's something in there," and he or she will, define or adjust it, and they will say it back, and I will say, "Oh yeah, but maybe if we," and that's, I mean,
yeah.
it's super scary to share your bad ideas. I know,
You have to
but
feel safe, right? You have to be with someone who's not going to shame and humiliate you, but rather say,
yeah,
okay, that doesn't work. But what we could do, it kind of reminds me, have talked about this on the podcast before. I've taken improv before. And the
yeah,
premise behind improvisation is you have to say yes and. So you give an idea. It's
yeah,
not a
yeah.
great idea of the first idea, but I have to say, yeah, and I have to add to your idea. So it's kind of like yes ending the original idea until you get to something that's really powerful and works. I like those. We got two, and you hadn't even been prepared. Do you see?
Oh yeah, scary stuff. But that's what happens when you just share and you. No, I don't know.
Well, you have to be vulnerable, right? You have to be
Yeah.
willing to have somebody go, okay, yes, let me see if what I can add to that. Thank you so much, Casper. And I wish we were coming to Copenhagen to see where you live and to jump on that trampoline. What would happen if you went over there right now and jumped on that trampoline?
I have no idea.
You'd probably be surrounded by
I know.
security.
Yeah, I know the guards have machine guns, so
Oh
I
dear,
don't
yeah.
know.
I don't
They're very.
recommend it then.
It's a very peaceful country, so maybe they just say get out of here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country. And what's a shop I love? Hey, Design. Are you familiar with that
Yeah,
store?
yeah. Hey, yeah, I know. Hey, I think
That brand?
my son actually went to school with one of the Hey daughters. So I know them very well. I also used to work at George Jensen, which is
Yes, of course.
jewelry
Beautiful silver.
and in sign. And I think yeah, the silverware and so I like that personally. Maybe
It's
because
it's a
I
beautiful
used to work
country
there.
for design. Like it's just a design rich country, that's for sure. Beautiful
So I
place.
like that minimalistic, pure
Yeah.
design.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to trying out your ideas.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It was fun, even though I
Anytime.
wasn't prepared. I have to fill in the form next time.
You did just fine, Casper. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Bye for now.